Governor, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. You announced a tax cut proposal yesterday that would mean for families earning under $150,000 a year, their income taxes would be reduced by 10%. What is your pitch to Republicans to pass this plan?
Well, this money came from the taxpayers of the state. We now have a surplus, estimated surplus of $5 billion in our state coffers. And so it came from the people. I'd say it's time to reinvest in them by giving them that opportunity to keep some of the money. And then one of our other proposals also is to get rid of the minimum markup on gasoline, and that's a piece of legislation we can just do. We don't even have to spend money to do it, because that's about 30 cents on a gallon that we can cut off people's gasoline bills. So there's good things. We'll see. I've seen what their leaders have said, but at the end of the day, my pitch is the money is there. And it came from the people of Wisconsin, and let's give them a chance to spend it the way they want to.
Home values are going up, which means that for some people, property taxes might be going up. Should the state try to blunt the impact of potentially increasing property taxes on families?
Well, yes, and one of those programs is a homestead tax relief part of this package too. Homestead is relatively little known, but it impacts a small number of people, but a lot of people are people that have very, very low income, mainly elderly people, keeping them in their homes. And so that we do believe will help mitigate against that with those folks. But at the end of the day, a lot of the issues around property taxes have to do with schools and local governments, obviously. And I think we should have a commitment in our state to appropriately fund those entities as they do the hard work, teaching kids, police, fire, EMS, jails. All those things are locally. We need more shared revenue. I've always made that commitment and tried 2 times to increase that dramatically, and for our public schools. That's the property tax relief right there. If the state steps up and provide the amount of money they should to our schools and our municipalities, we won't have to worry about school districts going to referenda and raising or to exceed the revenue caps, and the local municipalities don't have to worry about having to lay off firefighters and police. So that's where we should be. That's our job as a state, to be a good partner with municipalities and school districts.
As far as schools and school lunches, they'll no longer be free under the federal program this year. Should Wisconsin pay for every student to have a free lunch at school?
I'd like to take a look at that as being a possibility, but if I know there's already school districts that don't want to do that, so I guess mandating that would be something I'm not looking at. But if there's ways to make school lunches more available to kids that need it, absolutely, we'll look at that.
A 30,000-foot question. Why are you running for re-election?
First of all, it's a job I love. I think we've done a good job. We've made some really good progress around issues of infrastructure, taxes, frankly, and money for our schools, and broadband across the state of Wisconsin. So I think we've done a good job. I think it's good for people to also realize that sometimes having a divided government works in their favor, because both sides kind of play off each other, and we try to end up in the middle a lot of times. And so I think that, obviously we're going to have a Republican legislature. It's no question about that. And I think having a Democratic governor, even one that has been successful for the last 4 years, it's a job I love, and I love serving the people of Wisconsin.
When was the last time you met in person with Assembly Speaker Robin Vos?
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And there's, our staff communicate regularly, but he does his thing and I do mine. I have no ill will towards him. We make proposals in public and we respond in public, and we'll meet sometime. It's been a long time though.
The Republican nominee for Governor, Tim Michels, you say that he is divisive. Specifically, what do you mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, 60% of the people in the state of Wisconsin think that women should have the right to their reproductive health. You know, the whole issue of abortion. 60% of the people. He's on the side of the men who in 1849 created this draconian law. That's divisive. That's divisive when 60% say that, and that will be an issue in this campaign. When he says that it's insanity to increase funding for public schools, that's divisive. Every community has a public school, and to essentially pit the state government against those local folks, that's divisive. So, and he's got a string of those things that I believe that people of Wisconsin know about and prefer leadership that is more inclusive rather than exclusive.
On abortion, is there any executive action going forward that you can or would take, and what impact would that have?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. I mean, I have a lawsuit that Josh Call and I have in circuit court now, the county circuit court. That will play out. I think it's going to be successful. But as far as executive, you know, I said this in truth. If any doctor gets charged and found guilty of performing an abortion, I will give them clemency before they step foot in a jail. But that is ridiculous to think that I have to do that. It's an offer there. I will follow through on it. But we need to have this. You know, we had 50 years of rights for women, and suddenly overnight we've made them second-class citizens. That's wrong-headed. That's where Tim Michaels is.
Talking pandemic response, the state Supreme Court ended your administration's stay-at-home order earlier than similar orders ended in other states like Michigan and Illinois. The fact that it ended when it did that end up helping you politically in the long run?
No way. I mean, we were going to end ours at the end of May anyway, so it took a couple weeks off of that. My ability to be appropriate and follow the science, time after time, it shows my approval rating in that arena has been very, very strong. People respected that. In addition, counties across the state stepped up when I lost that authority and started making decisions that they felt were appropriate for the people in their counties. We got through this pandemic. It's still a thing, and we need to be careful. But at the end of the day, we did the right thing. And frankly, during the pandemic, we've invested in things that are important, especially in our small businesses. Those type of decisions that we made kept us from having some really dire economic impact in the state of Wisconsin. Our economy is so good. We're talking about giving back, a couple $2 billion to people, and in addition, we've been able to keep people safe and have the best unemployment rate we've ever had.
Governor, back to education and specifically school safety. Should the state pay for an SRO, a police officer, to be at every school in Wisconsin?
Well, that is a decision local school districts should make. I mean, some local districts use different types of counselors and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that argument, but yes, that's part and parcel of our funding. I believe that those decisions should be made locally. Most people are involved with SROs and have sworn police officers in campus. Some do not. They rather have different makeup of folks taking that role. I'm not going to get into that. I just think the state needs to make sure that our schools are safe, and by doing that, we have to make sure that we provide the resources for school districts to work on that.
Some schools are still looking for teachers at this time. Does the state have a role to play in trying to get schools fully staffed?
Well, we do, but it's going to take some time. I answered this question just a few minutes ago with somebody that asked me, and it's pay and it's respect, and one of the reasons we have fewer people going into teaching is pay and respect, and one of the reasons we have people leaving the profession is the same thing. We can't be so divisive around our schools that teachers say, I've had it. I love this job, but what's going on at the school board level or community level, and the type of impact that's having on my classroom working with children, That's a problem in the state. We need less divisiveness, and when you have somebody saying, oh, by the way, more money for schools is insanity, that's divisiveness. Respect, and I think pay. We have risen in the last 3 years to 8th in the country, according to USA Today, in achievement. That's a good thing. And our pay level in the state, even factoring in what it costs for people to live in Wisconsin, we're right in the middle someplace. We need to lift up teachers. We need to respect them, and frankly, I think we need to pay them more.
Since your first year in office, Wisconsin Forward test scores, as far as the state picture, have gone down in every subject tested. What do you think caused that?
Well, certainly the pandemic didn't help that. When you have, we have going in, going out of school, that sort of thing, and that didn't help. But at the end of the day, we have gone up in some tests, and I won't go down that road. But I think we're still in a good place as a state. 8th in the country is good. Do we want to see improvement every single year? Yes, we do. But kids are coming into our classrooms with different needs than they've ever had before, mental health needs and so on. And so I think once we get things calmed down as far as the politics of school and get people interested in teaching and taking care of some of those social and emotional issues that kids face now that they never faced before, we'll be in a better place to show some success.
Should you have ordered schools statewide to reopen in August of 2020?
No, that's a decision. I made that decision at the beginning when we had the stay-at-home order. After that, those decisions were made locally exactly where they should be. If the school board in a district feels that it was unsafe to open schools, they made that decision, and I respect that.
The day after the Jacob Blake shooting, you said 125 National Guard members would be deployed to Kenosha. Should you have initially sent more?
I did everything I was asked to do by the leaders in Kenosha who were there. Everything I needed, everything that they asked for, we did. Do I condone violence? Absolutely not. But I repeat, everything they asked me to do, and you can ask any Kenosha leader from the mayor on down, we did everything we did. It's not like there's 1,000 guardsmen just sitting around the state ready to be deployed at any one time. These people have jobs and lives. So to think that somehow we're going to have thousands of guardsmen there overnight, that just isn't the way it works. They're teachers. They work in newsrooms across the state. So getting them there is something we've got people there as quickly as possible. We got people from Arizona and someplace else as quickly as possible. That's what they asked me to do. That's what I did.
So here's one more. We'll make it a two-part. Does Milwaukee have a crime problem, and would you support what former candidate for governor on the Republican side, Rebecca Clayfish, supported, which was surging state patrol into high crime areas?
We've already did that with traffic issues. Obviously, the training for state patrol is different than others, and we have state patrol that are working side by side with the people in Milwaukee on traffic issues, especially really bizarre traffic behavior, and that's what they're working on. So yes, but we have done some of that.
But violent crimes?
Violent crimes, yes. There's an issue of violent crimes in the state, in Milwaukee and other urban areas across the country. And we have put several millions of dollars into violence prevention, and also I think it's about $15 million into police departments across the state of Wisconsin during the pandemic. We're not going to be going in and being making decisions on what city policemen and women do. They do a great job. What our job is to make sure is the cities have the resources in order to do that, and we provided that during the pandemic.
Governor, thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.